to give you hope, and to empower you to live your ultimate life in every single area. Every month, we give our members thousands of dollars worth of events and speaker bonuses, all for just $25 a month. And we give you a way to make money just for sharing it with others. If you're here as one of our members, you already know all about it. If you're here as a guest, we'll tell you how to find out more at the end of tonight's event. We're simply thrilled to have you as one of our VIP guests for this evening. And all I want you to focus on right now is absorbing as much as you can from what Bob Proctor is going to share with us tonight. I also want to make sure you know there's a place for you to write in questions or thoughts as Bob's talking tonight. If you look over on your screen, you'll see a place there for questions. And feel free to write in your thoughts, your questions. He's agreed to stay on and answer some of those questions at the end of the call. His time will be limited, but I know that he'll give as much as he is able to. And so feel free to write what you want to. And now, I see the numbers have stabilized, so it's time for me to pass it off to Linda Baumgarten, my partner, the Chief Inspiration Officer for this company, my wonderful friend, and she has the honor of introducing a very special friend of the Ultimate Life Company, Mr. Bob Proctor. Linda, it is all yours.
Great. Thank you, Jenny. And yes, I'm so excited for this event. We've been planning for this for a couple of weeks. We were actually introduced to, first of all, it's my real privilege to bring in all the different speakers and to create all of the programming in the 9 areas of interest that we have, because we are committed that you are living your ultimate life, and that takes living your ultimate life in all areas of your life. And Mary Morrissey spoke for us back in the beginning of March, I believe, and when she really enjoyed speaking for us, and she introduced us to Bob Proctor. Well, Bob Proctor has been a hero of mine and Ginny's for a long time. Many of you know him through The Secret. The Secret was a movie that discussed the law of attraction, and it actually impacted 200 to 300 million people. And we were really privileged when Bob heard about our company and gave us some advice about the company and then said, you know what, I believe that you're going to be impacting that many people also, which gives us a real honor, and we're really excited about that. Bob also was on Larry King Live 2 different times and was viewed by 80 million people. But here's the thing. Many of you have read Think and Grow Rich, and that was inspired back at the beginning of the 1900s and was written by Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill turned over those ideas to Earl Nightingale, and Earl Nightingale turned those ideas over to Bob Proctor. And so for the past few decades, Bob has been delivering the message of law of attraction. He's a master and a mentor and teacher of how it is that we become what we think about. Bob, thank you so much for being on the call, and it's all yours.
Thanks very much. Can you hear me okay there, Jen or Linda?
Yes. You may want to increase the volume. Yes, now I can hear you better. A little volume, that would be good.
All right. How is that?
Much better. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, perfect.
Well, I want to say that I am very pleased. I was having some network problems here. You were cutting out, and I was losing you. Hope it's working again.
So far, so good.
I want to tell you how pleased I am here to be on the call with the Ultimate Life Group. And when Jenny told me about the company and the $25 a month, I had a difficult time believing it. You see, the education that you receive here is going to change your life. That book that you see on the screen changed my entire world. And not just for a short period of time, for a long period of time. It was 50 years ago that I picked up that book. My life changed so dramatically that I'm still trying to study and understand everything that happened. Now, I'm going to share some ideas with you tonight. I've broken this presentation tonight into 4 different lessons. Each one is important. Now, ask yourself this. Have you ever seriously asked yourself why? It's a good question. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Why don't I do a lot better than I'm doing? Why do I keep doing something when I know it doesn't work? Why don't I do what I already know how to do that would improve my life? There's so many whys in our life. Why do some people earn so much more than others? See, it's a question that most people never really get around to answering. They may ask the question, but then they never really answer it. Now, there's two things that you must know if you're going to create wealth. You know what those two things are? I'm going to tell you, you're not going to get... Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
All right. Now, these two things are pretty simple. You have to know where you are. You have to know where you're going. And then you've got to get moving. Now, that is so simple and so obvious, you have to ask yourself, why are so many people stuck? Think about that for a moment. The average person will tell you that the problem is in goals. They don't have goals. But I think most people have a goal. They may not have it done right. They may not have it written. They may not carry it around with them. But I think they have goals. The problem may be in how they go after their goals. But the real problem is down here. They don't know where they are. Now, that may sound strange, but that's probably the truth. I remember when I first sat down with a man by the name of Ray Stanford. He said, "Bob, who are you?" And I looked at him. I thought it was a dumb question. I said, "What do you mean, who am I?" Well, he said, "Who are you?" And I said, "I'm Bob." No, he said, "That's who you think you are, but that's not who you are." And he said, "Bob and Proctor are just two words. That's your name, but that's not you." I had to think about that for a moment. And I thought, well, I guess that's right. I'm not my name. Then I pointed to my body and I said, "Well, this is me." No, he said, "That's your body." He said, "You've never heard anybody phone into work and say, 'Body's not coming in today, it's sick.'" Think about this for a moment. We don't say, "am hand," we say, "my hand." Most people are stuck. Year after year, they get the same results. When I first picked up Think and Grow Rich, I was earning $4,000 a year and I owed $6,000. Now, it'd been like that for quite a while. I mean, that wasn't a new spot I was in. I always owed more money than I could earn. Now, I had to ask myself at some point, why am I living this way? But the truth is, I didn't. I had to wait until Ray Stanford sat down and started to ask me some questions. I'm going to ask you some of those questions tonight. And then I'm going to point out what you can do to change all that. You see, the problem is right there. The problem is in paradigms. Now, if you don't know what a paradigm is, you don't want to feel bad. The guy next door to you probably doesn't know either. So if you ask ourselves, you know, what are the paradigms? What are the problems? This is the number one problem. We don't know what the problems are. Paradigms are nothing but a multitude of habits. But understand this, they're other people's habits that have been passed on from one generation to the next. Now think of this for a moment. Ask yourself what you believe to be true about you, and then ask yourself, where did that belief come from? Do you know that almost all your beliefs you have inherited? You didn't originate them at all. Now think about this for a moment. It's pretty serious information. See, paradigms shape our logic, and we're not inclined to do anything that's illogical. But let's think for a moment. At one time, it was believed that the world was flat. It was logical to believe that. I mean, how would anybody live on the side and forget about trying to live on the bottom? At one time, it was believed that we couldn't fly like a bird. Today, we can fly a lot higher and a lot faster than a bird. How did these things happen? They happened because brave, creative individuals decided they were going to go on the other side of logic. See, if you set a goal at multiplying your income or earning as much while you're sleeping as you need to spend when you're awake, most people will tell you that's unrealistic. That just doesn't make sense. But it makes a lot of sense, and it's not unrealistic. There's all kinds of people earning more money when they're sleeping than they need when they're awake. How did they do it? They start to change the way they think. They start to change their paradigm. They start to alter their conditioning. They quit living the way they were living, and start to change the way they're living. Now that's what ultimate life is all about. It's about showing you how to find the ultimate life, how to find a better way to live. Now think of this. This is not rocket science. This is pretty simple stuff. It's just that most people do not understand it. They don't understand who they are. They don't understand what paradigms are. They don't understand that paradigms literally control our life. You see, logic is something that we're governed by. If we set a goal in school to get straight A's, and we may have been failing previously, the teacher's probably going to tell us that's not realistic. Maybe you should go for some B's. They don't want you to hurt yourself. They don't want you to miss. So what they do is put ideas in your mind that's going to cause you to miss, that's going to cause you to hurt yourself. Now think of this. Your paradigm controls your perception. We had a man in the front row of a seminar here just a little while ago. In fact, he was in two seminars, one night after the other in two different places. I thought he was following me around for a while. And I went over and I said, if I asked the audience what color you were, they would tell me you're black, wouldn't they? And he smiled and he said, yeah. He said, they probably would. And then I said, they tell you I'm white. And he said, yeah, they probably would. But I said, the truth is you're not black and I'm not white. Now, your suit is black. You're not the color of your suit. My shirt is white and I'm not the color of my shirt. See, if you ever saw a white person, you'd probably scream and run like, God, they're white. Nobody's ever seen a white person, nor has ever seen a black person. Why do we say they're black, and why do we say I'm white? Because that's what we're programmed to see. You don't see with your eyes. You see through your eyes. You see with cells of recognition in your brain. Now, if you see something that isn't there in a situation like that, how many other things do you see that aren't there? How about those obstacles that stop you from setting goals that would enable you to live a real meaningful life? How about all those walls that you don't seem to be able to get through or go around? How about all the limitations that you've bought into that you believe are yours? You see, it's a perception problem we've got. Do you know that you've got infinite power locked up within you? You've got all the knowledge there ever was or ever will be, all locked up inside of you. All knowledge is omnipresent. All the knowledge there ever was or ever will be is 100% evenly present in all places at the same time. We've got to stop and wake up. You know that our perception is controlled by our paradigm, and our time is controlled by our paradigm. Everybody gets the same amount of time. They get all there is. It's what we do with our time that's going to make a difference. You know, if you earned $80,000 a year, that's 67 cents a minute. That's $10 for 15 minutes. How many times do you hear somebody say, you got a minute? They don't want a minute. They want 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or an hour. It costs you an absolute fortune to sit and talk about nothing to most people. We've got to stop and ask ourselves, what am I doing with my time? See, your life goes by very, very fast. Now, I happen to believe if you really lock into the educational system that Ultimate Life offers, you can turn your annual income into a monthly income. Now, I want you to take a minute. I'm going to pause for a second. I want you to write down what your annual income is on a piece of paper. All right? Multiply that by 12. What would that come to? That'd be a pretty nice figure. If you're earning $80,000 a year, now you're earning $80,000 a month. What would you do with the difference? You probably have a difficult time accepting that you could do that, but what would you do if you were earning $80,000 a month? Let me tell you something. When I first picked up Think and Grow Rich, I was on the fire department in a suburb of Toronto in a township called East York. The chief's name was Tom Pavling. He was earning $11,200 a year. The firemen were earning $4,000 a year. I knew that I would never be chief. Now think about this. So I knew I'd never earn $11,200 a year. But then I read Think and Grow Rich. And I got thinking about earning money. I quit thinking about debt. If your goal is to get out of debt, you're going to stay in debt forever because you become what you think about. You attract into your life what you think about. See, the thoughts set up the vibration sets up the attraction. In reading this book, I was thinking of earning money. Somebody said there's good money cleaning floors. I said, I'm not proud, I'll clean floors. Now, in less than 5 years, I was cleaning floors in Toronto, Montreal, Boston, Cleveland, Atlanta, and London, England. My income took off like a rocket. Do you know it wasn't too long until I was earning $11,200 a month, and I was still afraid to quit the fire department. I was the second person since 1934 to quit. No one ever got fired. Think of how insecure I was, how ignorant I was as to the potential that I had locked up within me. The fact that I was earning this money didn't mean anything. I never thought it would last. I thought I was lucky. I wasn't lucky, and it did last. I was doing things in a certain way. Now think of this for a moment. What are you doing with your time? Have you any idea what you could accomplish if you made up your mind you're going to maximize your time? How many people do you invite on this call? How many people do you bring to the ultimate life? You're getting information here that's never going to get in school. You're going to learn how to utilize your time. Have you any idea how much more effective you could become? I earn many times every hour what the fire department used to pay me a year because I've become more effective as a human being. You don't earn money by working. Working, in fact, is the worst way to earn money. I did a TV show with Robin Leach a number of years ago. He has probably interviewed more wealthy people than anyone alive. He told me the wealthiest people he's met, he's never seen them working. You go to work for satisfaction. You should spend your days doing what you love to do. You earn money by providing service. Do you know that every time you introduce somebody to the ultimate life, you're providing service, you're giving them an opportunity to change their life? The universe will reward you for this. And it just keeps adding up. You can become many times more productive just by altering the paradigm. Now, the operative question is, well, how do you change a paradigm? Well, we're going to talk about that. Now, here is the capper. The amount of money you earn and your ability to earn money is determined by your paradigm. When I meet someone, I frequently ask them what's the most they've ever earned in a year. I don't really care what the answer is, but I want to know what the answer is, and I'm not doing it to be nosy. I was doing a coaching call here about 2 or 3 hours ago with a couple, and I asked them what's the most they ever earned in a year. And they were putzing around. See, the truth is they didn't want to tell me. Now, they ultimately did. And I said, you know, you could earn that much every month. When you take a look at what you earn a year, that tells you where your paradigm is set. The paradigm is like a control panel in your mind. And if it doesn't change, nothing happens. Dr. J.B. Ryan from Duke, who's gone now, he said the mind is the greatest power in all of creation. And yet, you know, you can go all through our educational system, and they don't teach you anything about your mind. You can study psychology. You can study psychiatry. If you go to our site, you'll see in there's a quote by a man named John Mike. His wife's name is Suzanne Mike. They're both psychiatrists. John said, I taught him more about the mind in 1 year than he'd learned in 4 years of medical school and 5 years of psychiatric training. I have 2 months high school formal education. How does that happen? Well, I learned something school never taught him. Now, I just shared with him what a good doctor shared with me, and I'm going to share with you. You see, when you change your paradigm, you become connected to an entirely different world. And you're going to love it. You will absolutely love it. Think of your iPhone or your BlackBerry. I get a little BlackBerry in front of me here. And you know, it's a communication center. I can communicate, I can send pictures, I can talk, I can take photographs and send them, I can text all over the world. I can put it in my hip pocket and put it on vibrate. And if somebody contacts me and I'm in a meeting, I know they've contacted me. I keep talking, but I know they're contacting me. Do you know we've always been able to have these phones? We just weren't aware of how to do it. The knowledge to do it was always here. All the knowledge there ever was or ever will be is 100% evenly present in all places at the same time. Now, that being the case, why wouldn't we have phones like this a long time ago? It wasn't that long ago we didn't have phones at all. Do you know it wasn't that long ago that Samuel Morse was taken before the United States Congress by his good supporters? They were trying to get $30,000 grant for him to string up wires over around Maryland so he could send a message from one place to the other by stopping and starting the flow of energy. The Morse code. A senator stood up in Congress and said they'd be further ahead to give someone $30,000 to build a railway to the moon. He got more support than Sam Morris got. Now, Sam Morris did a little better than Marconi. Marconi suggested he was going to send a message from one place to the other without metallic wires. He was just going to send it through the medium of the molecule. They locked him up in a mental institution. Wow. I was talking to a reporter today. Early this morning, I was doing an interview on CNN, and they were sort of laughing at this, and I told them about the story about Morris and Marconi. And I said, you want to be damn thankful that those people thought out of the block, got out of the box, or you wouldn't be working today. Look what Ted Turner did. You got a very bad line here.
Yeah, I was going to say, it goes in and out, Bob. I'm just wondering if maybe we should take a pause. I don't know if you have like a landline to call in on.
I do. Give me a number.
Okay, 314-627-1519, and then 205-258-191. And then I think they're going to ask you for an audio code, which would be 59.
Okay, hold on.
So everybody, just be patient for a minute, and Bob will be right back. And we'll keep going. We want to make sure that everybody is going to be able to hear it as well as we want you to hear it.
Absolutely.
I know that I'm already being challenged and challenged. It's wonderful.
It is hard to imagine that all the cell phone stuff. I mean, because I've been in business for myself for 15, 20 years, and when I first started, I made a lot of money without internet, without emails, and people nowadays are like amazed that would even work. So,
all right, we're on.
All right,
wonderful, perfect, Bob.
Welcome back, Bob.
Okay. Now think for a moment. I'm getting feedback.
Hey, Bob, I hate to tell you this, but you've got a real bad echo.
I don't know how to stop it. How's that?
No, are the rest of y'all hearing it too? Linda, are you hearing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on a minute.
If you haven't turned off the microphone part on your computer, that could be causing it.
How's this?
No, it's still echoing.
Bob, do you see on the chart there it says audio mode, and it says use telephone or use mic and speakers?
Yeah.
You want to switch that to use telephone?
There we go.
Perfect. Oh, much
Perfect.
better. Thank you.
Okay.
Got it all fixed.
All right.
Okay, where are we? Here we are. Come back in here. There we go. Good. Now, you know, if we come back and talk about Sam Morris and Marconi and take a look at your little cell phone, Sam Morris was laughed at, and yet the Morse code was largely responsible for winning the Second World War. We have to begin to stop and look back at what's happened in the past. When anyone made a breakthrough, they were considered a heretic. They were considered foolish. When I tell you that you can take and double and multiply your income, and you go and share that with your brother-in-law or the person next door and possibly your father-in-law, they're going to look at you like you're rather silly. And then when you talk about network marketing, they're going to say, oh, get out of here. Do you know it's the most moral form of compensation that has ever been devised? I wrote an article called Moral Compensation one time, and it really is. Do you know that General Motors involved in multi-level? They really are. The guy at the top gets a piece of everything everybody does. Well, you see, the beautiful part about this, everybody's at the top. When you learn that you can change your paradigm, you have hope. And understand this, when you have hope, you have options. And that's when my life began to change. I didn't think I had an option. I had all kinds of options, and so do you. And as we change those options, our life changes, as we start to choose the right ones. It's such a beautiful concept. You know, Joel Barker wrote the book on paradigms. He said to be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm. So it's not just a matter of being able, you've got to be willing. You've got to be willing to do the work. And when you do that, everything starts to change in your world. So let's take a look at the mind and paradigms. In fact, let's get more specific. Let's look at your mind and your paradigm. Now, to do that, we're going to have to go to the second lesson here, and it's a very important one. You and I think in pictures. I want you to think of your automobile for a moment. Now think of your home. Think of your refrigerator. Think of a loved one. And in all these things, pictures come on the screen of your mind. Well, as these pictures come on the screen of the mind, understand this. It's your mind where you're seeing these. What does your mind look like? Now, if you're going to change the setup of the room, change the arrangement of the furniture in the room you're in, you wouldn't have a difficult time doing that. I see a chair sitting to my left. I could see that over in front of me. I could see that being moved, and then I go and move it. I could change the setup of the room. How do you change the setup of the mind if you don't even know what it looks like? Well, there was a doctor in 1934 become aware of this. And he started to think about it, and he said, we're treating symptoms. And you know, if we're going to treat the cause of the problem, we're going to have to operate differently. He was very involved in the healing arts. And he said, you know, the problem lies in the mind. And he said, we're going to have a picture of the mind. Now, he said, nobody's ever seen the mind, so he said, I'm going to draw a picture of the mind. And there it is, right in front of you. Now, I've seen people look at that, and they snicker and laugh. I'm going to tell you, in 50 years of studying, that is the most valuable idea I've ever learned, and it's going to be to you in a minute as well. Every great leader that has ever lived, they've been in complete unanimous agreement on one thing: we become what we think about. And our conscious mind is what we think with. We break our mind and our body into parts. We have the conscious, the subconscious, and the body. Now, the conscious mind is your thinking mind. The real problem with most people is they don't think. Your conscious mind has hooked up to it your sensory factors. You see, hear, smell, taste, touch. Well, you see, your mind is being inundated with stimuli from outside. Every time one of your senses is affected, it causes a mental activity. And you're getting inundated with information from your sight, your sound, touch. And the information's flying around our conscious mind. We trick ourselves into believing that's thinking. That is not thinking at all. Thinking is quite different than that. But we do become what we think about. What do you think about? You have the ability to think anything you want. But your conscious mind is your educated mind. That's where we store up the books. That's the part of the personality that the school is interested in dealing with. But that's not the part that controls the vibration or the actions of the body. You have the ability here to really put this idea to work. It's your conscious mind where your intellect is resident. And you have intellectual factors. You've all got all kinds of mental powers. And as we start to understand these and put them to work, everything in our life starts to change. Now think of this for a moment. Your subconscious is your emotional mind. Why would you ever get emotionally upset over someone saying something? We can get emotionally upset thinking someone else is thinking something about us. See, we play games with our mind. Why do we do that? We do it because we're programmed to do it. Now, you see, your conscious mind has the ability to choose. You can choose to do anything you want or become anything you want. I want to recommend that you attempt right now to let go of the past and really pay attention to what I'm saying from this point on, because you have the ability to accept or reject anything that comes into your mind. It's a beautiful thing to understand, and most people don't understand it. You have the ability to originate information. You can originate an idea. You can sit and think and build a picture of what you want your life to be like. You can have the ultimate life. There's no trick to it. It's not rocket science. It's so simple that most people miss it. Sit down and describe what you want. See, your subconscious mind will accept anything you give to it. It must accept it. It cannot reject it. And it cannot differentiate between what's real and what's imagined. Now, that's a pretty neat concept if you can really understand it. Most people don't understand it. Why? Well, they don't know. They never study it. You went all through school and never learned anything about this. Why don't they teach us this in school? Well, there's a pretty good reason. They don't know it. See, if school teachers knew it, they'd give it to you. They haven't got it. School teachers can't tell you how to earn money. They've never learned how to earn money. There isn't a school in the world that teaches you how to earn money. Now think of this for a moment. This is very important stuff. Let's put the two drawings up. That's you today. This is you when you're an infant. Now this is going to explain why you do what you do and why you don't do many of the things you want to do. Your conscious mind is being inundated with information from the radio, from other people, from TV, from newspapers. It's coming into your conscious mind. Now, we are getting bombarded with a lot of negative stuff about the economy, about all the things going wrong in the world. We have the ability, because we can reason, this is our thinking mind, we have the ability to say, get out of here. I'm not going to spend any time thinking about that. But you know something? We don't. Why don't we? Because we don't think. It's our thinking mind that we have the ability to reject it with. We leave that open, and it goes right into our subconscious mind. What's going on around us comes right into our emotional mind. Why would we do that? We're programmed to do it. Look here. When you're an infant, this is how you arrived on the scene. The information that was going on around you goes right into your subconscious mind. I was talking to a man in Penang here just recently. Penang is a beautiful resort over in Malaysia. It's one of the most beautiful places in the world. I spent a lot of time there. I was going over there every month for 5 years. So I knew the area, I knew the culture. And the man was telling me why he couldn't do something. Now, I've forgotten what it was. It was something he wanted to do, though. And I said, is that right? You can't do it? No, he said, I really couldn't do that. I said, do you have any family? And he said, yes, he had a little boy. I said, how old is he? He says, he's almost 4. I said, how many languages does he speak? He said, 3. No, 4. I said, isn't that interesting? I knew the child would be multilingual because everyone over there is that's raised over there. And I said, isn't it strange that your son, who isn't 4 years old yet, can master 4 different languages and you can't do this? Do you know what I did? I jarred his brain. I caused him to start thinking. Listen, look at under you're an infant. The information going on around you is going right into your subconscious mind. Now, anything that goes into your subconscious mind over and over and over again becomes fixed in your subconscious mind. That's how your self-image was formed. You see people with low self-esteem, where did they get that? They didn't sit down and build it themselves. They inherited it. They got it as a child. Why would a parent do that? They do it because they don't understand. They're ignorant, and they pass their ignorance on from one generation to the next. You're the highest form of creation in the world, and yet we build pictures in our babies that they're not worthy. A child that's raised with criticism is going to grow up very insecure. A child that's raised with praise goes up very secure. Your self-image is only one idea among many, and as you put them all together, that's called a paradigm. Now, that paradigm controls the vibration of your being. It controls how you think. See, the paradigm is there. You have the ability to think anything you want, but you've been programmed to live through those senses. They're like little antennae that's picking up information from outside. You let your bank account dictate your financial situation. You let other people's opinion control what you think of you. We do this. I'm not just saying you. I do it. We all do it. Until I was 26, I didn't believe I could accomplish anything. I had 2 months high school. I believed that I couldn't win if I didn't go to school. I hadn't gone to school, so I never even tried to win. I grew up with the idea that if you're going to earn a lot of money, you've got to be really smart. Well, I started to do what Ray Stanford told me and what Napoleon Hill's book told me, and here I was a year later earning $175,000 a year from $4,000 just a year before. Then it went over $1 million. I knew that that idea that you can't earn money if you're not really smart wasn't true, because I knew I wasn't very smart, but I was earning a lot of money. I had a company that operated in 7 different cities in 3 different countries. I had no business experience at all. In fact, I had a terrible work record. How did that happen? It happened because I decided it would happen. You see, your conscious mind is also your intellectual mind. That's where your perception, the will, that's where they are resident. Do you know when John Kennedy asked Dr. Wernher von Braun what it would take to build a rocket that would carry a man to the moon and bring him back safely to Earth? Von Braun said the will to do it. Do you know what the will does? The will gives you the ability to concentrate. The will gives you the ability to hold one idea on the screen of your mind to the exclusion of all outside distractions. You have an imagination. Napoleon Hill said it's the most marvelous, miraculous, inconceivably powerful force the world has ever known. You have a memory. Do you know there's no such thing as a bad memory? Everyone has a perfect memory. It just has to be strengthened. The memory can be strengthened just like muscles in the body. Exercise. You have intuition. Do you know if you're ever in a seminar I'm in, you come up, I can tell you exactly what you're like. I could walk by you on the street, and I know exactly what you're like. I know whether you operate from the right or left hemisphere of your brain. I know if I was selling you something, should I sell you fast or slow? Should I give you lots of facts and figures or sell you on an emotional level? Now, if I can learn to do that, you can learn to do that, and when you can learn how to do that, your stock goes up. See, your intuition is that mental faculty that gives you the ability to pick up vibration and translate it in your mind. Did you ever wonder why you pick up the phone at times and the person you're going to phone's on the other end? Phone didn't ring. You didn't touch a button. Nothing happened. You say, wow, what a coincidence. It's not a coincidence at all. It's called thought transference. One person decided to phone the other, and the other one picked it up, and they both acted on it at the same time. Your intuition is what we refer to as a gut feeling. I start reading people's personality in a seminar, and they say, my God, the guy's psychic. You're right, I am. But you know something? So are you. Psyche is the Greek word for mind. I was developing my mental faculties for the last 50 years. Your reasoning factor is the part of you that gives you the ability to think. You can think anything you want. Now, we're not taught anything about what's on the left-hand side of the screen, and we're taught to live by what's on the right-hand side of the screen. As little kids, the little kid will start to walk. And the parent will say, be careful, you might fall. Where'd they get the might from? The kid's going to fall. Tell him he's going to fall. He's going to whack his head. He's going to hurt himself. But he's going to get up and keep on going. They want to protect him. They want to protect him so much, they weaken him. And most people grow up weak. Why? Their strength has never been developed. It's so basic and so simple. We can tell the paradigm to get out of town. That's right. We can tell it just to get out of town. You see, that's what ultimate life is all about. It's about changing paradigms. Now, you probably didn't know that. Do you know that it takes repetition to change paradigms? That's right. You call on all the calls. Don't miss any of the calls. Get on every one of them. Some of the speakers are going to be better than others. Some of them aren't going to be that good at all. But you know something? You can learn something from every one of them. Every person that comes on here is going to leave you with something, and that's going to help you get rid of the paradigm. And when you do, your whole life begins to change. See, look here. School has piled up an enormous stack of books in our conscious mind. School gave us valuable knowledge. However, school never showed us how to change the paradigm. So most people don't do what they've been trained how to do. Do you ever wonder why people are walking the streets? They've got degrees coming right off the end of their business cards, and they can't find work. You'll say, how could they be so stupid? They're not stupid. They're brilliant. Their paradigm's controlling them, and they didn't know that. You see, school doesn't show you how to change the paradigm. School is interested in you gathering the information. If you gather what's in the book and you can repeat it, you're going to be called an educated person. Now, do you know something? Nothing could be further from the truth. There isn't any such thing as an educated person. I had the very good fortune in 1970 to be on a program, a Human Resource Congress in Chicago, that Eric Hoffer was on. Eric Hoffer was a marvelous man. He's gone now, but he wrote a little book called The True Believer. He was a longshoreman. He was a Russian immigrant that never went to school, but he always had a library card. And he never stopped studying. And I heard him speaking. He said, in times of change, the learners will inherit the earth, while the learned find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with the world that no longer exists. Have you any idea a number of people that think they're learned and they're trying to deal with a world that no longer exists? The day is over when you get a job and you stay there till you get your pension. Forget it. That doesn't exist anymore. There's a different world. This is the world of the entrepreneur. This is what the ultimate life is all about. It's teaching you to stand on your own 2 feet, create your own income. You don't want a job. I like the way Mark Victor puts it. He says a job is an acronym for just over broke. You see, the paradigm expresses itself in action and causes the results. What you want to do is build a new paradigm. And that's what you do on these calls. It's a repetition of listening to this information. It's so simple that our educated mind has difficulty accepting it. But if you do it, you'll start to get the results you want. Can you turn your annual income to a monthly income? Oh, yes, you can. It'll happen by law. I'm looking out my back door. It's getting dark outside. Do you know something? If it didn't, I would probably be very, very fearful. Can you imagine going outside at 3 o'clock in the morning? It's broad daylight. Man, if you tried to phone the television station and the newspaper, find out what's wrong, you would never get through. Why? The lines would all be plugged. Everybody would be afraid. Now think. Really think. What results are you getting now? What results were you getting a year ago? It's rather interesting. Rather interesting. What results do you want to get next year? See, that's your choice. You can make a decision. You have options, and you can do anything you want. Anything you want. But you've got to want to. Now, what I'm going to show you from this point on gets pretty interesting. Look here for a moment. Buckminster Fuller was the great architect, designer, creator. And he said, you never change things by fighting existing reality. To change things, you build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. Well, you know, that's what the Ultimate Life is doing. They're offering you the opportunity to create a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. I watch it happening all the time. There's your conscious mind. The conscious mind is the intellectual mind. This is where you think, and you can think whatever you want. What do you want? Then think of this. There's your subconscious mind with your paradigm, and the body expresses the paradigm. You see, the law of attraction was really made famous globally by The Secret. The Secret, it's been estimated 200 to 300 million people have seen that. I'm as popular in Iran as I am in Indiana. How did that happen? Because of that one movie that went wild. Why did it go wild? Why did it go viral? Why were there so many people in every country in the world interested in The Secret? We go to a meeting in Lima, Peru. There's 20,000 people. It's like a rock concert. There's big signs up on the street about secret speakers. We have police patrols guarding us, taking us where we go. Why? It's because The Secret tapped into something that people wanted. It tapped into the higher side of their personality. Now, The Secret was missing something because the law of attraction is a secondary law. The primary law is the law of vibration. Now, look at this for a moment. You have to turn the image of what you want into your new paradigm. It's not good enough just to say you want it. You've got to impress it upon the subconscious mind. You've got to get it fixed in the subconscious mind. You've got to make a decision. You say, this is how I'm going to live. See, you've got to make a decision. From this point on, you are never going to live the same way again. You're going to form new habits. You're never going to miss a call that Ultimate Life has. You're going to get as many of your friends and relatives and neighbors on here as you can. And as you bring them on and expand their world, the universe expands your world. Givers gain. Your income starts going up. From doing what? From helping people wake up. Remember this. The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. Well, what is the main thing? You got one bite at the apple. It's about lifestyle. That's right. It's about contribution. Are you making a contribution? If you invited one person here tonight, you've made a contribution. It's about how you spend your days. It's such a beautiful concept. See, most people are extras in their own movie. They never really break out. Now, you may think I'm a little passionate about this, but my life changed so dramatically, I had to figure out what happened. I knew it wasn't because I was smart, because I wasn't that smart. I knew it wasn't because that I had a good formal education, because I'd never had any education. I thought, I've got to figure out what happened. And I started to study, and I've never stopped. It took me 9 years to figure this out. And then I've just kept gaining on it ever since. Now think of that. What do you really want? Don't become an extra in your own movie. Don't think he can, I can't. She can, I can't. Gosh, I wished I could. Do you know, in self-reliance, in Emerson's essay on self-reliance, he said there would come a time in every person's unfoldment, in their educar or their education, when they would realize that envy is ignorance and imitation is suicide. See, for me to sit back and look at you with great results and envy you, that's to say, I don't know, I've got the same mental faculties you've got. I'm drawing on the same potential as you're drawing on. You're doing it and I'm not. Envy is ignorance. And he said imitation is suicide. You can't be like me and I can't be like you. You're unique. Do you know that nothing in the universe would move in the precise order it moves in your absence? You take any part away from anything, and it doesn't run right anymore. What do you really want? That's what's going to change your life. And that brings us to lesson number 3. That's right. There's the yeast that raises the dough, the green stuff. You can earn all you want. There is no limit to it. Now think for a moment. In the new economy, you can actually turn your annual income into a monthly income. And if you think about this, this can be accomplished by having multiple sources of income. Wealthy people go right back to the ancient Babylonians. They've always had multiple sources of income. See, our world is changing. Our world's not getting bigger. Our world's getting smaller. The world is actually getting, you're only hours away from anywhere. You can have business all over the world, and it can be feeding your bank account. It's kind of a nice concept when you think about it. That's right. MSIs, multiple sources of income. I've got them coming in from all over the place like that. That's right. You can have two. Are they all going to be the same size? No, they won't all be the same size. But I'll tell you one thing, it'll sure add up. Some will be big and some will be small, but they all flow to one place, your bank. You see, I could take somebody that's flat broke and show them how to become a multimillionaire. Why? Because there's rules. Success leaves tracks. Do you know what the rules are? Study your own habits. Change your habits. So basic. What did we say? The mind is the greatest power in all of creation. So this brings us to lesson number 4, the final one, and it's a big one. So let's look at it. It's the ABCs of goals. That's right. It's that simple. Now look at it. Why do we set goals? Most people say they set goals to get stuff. No, 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 no. You set goals to grow. Getting stuff is just a side benefit. See, we set goals to grow as an individual. We want to develop the higher side of our own being. Now, how do we set goals? That's the question we should be asking ourselves. Here's how most people do it. The A goals are doing something you already know how to do. It's just a repeat of the present results. I'm setting a goal to do this because I know how to do it. Now, think of this for a moment. I had a young guy come up and ask me one time in a seminar if I talked to him about his goal, and I said, sure, what's your goal? He said, I want to get a new car. And I said, okay, what kind of a car you want? Well, I think I'd like a new Pontiac. And I said, well, they're nice cars. I've had Pontiacs. And I said, what are you driving now? He said, a Pontiac. I said, how old is it? He says, 4 years old. I said, well, probably time you got a new one anyway. And I said, how long have you had it? He said, 4 years. I said, you mean you got it new? And he said, yeah. Well, I said, that's not a good goal. You've known for 4 years how to get a new Pontiac. Goals are to grow. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't get a new Pontiac. Go and get one. You've known for 4 years how to do it. We're going to go after something we don't know how to do. Oh, so then he stretches. What do they do? They go after what they think they can do. How do they do that? Well, they got to have a plan. I mean, Harvard tells you got to have a plan. Go to the bank. They've got to see a business plan. So what do? We look at all our present resources. I got this much money in the bank. If she does that, if he does this, if these people do come, if they join, if I get this many members, and so we're laying down a plan. We're trying to figure out how to do it. That's not how you do it. There's no inspiration in going after what you think you can do. Why don't we go after what we want? Well, there's good reason. That's out of bounds. Why? It's a fantasy. Fantasy. You don't know how to do it. See, when you were a little kid, this was programmed. This is part of the paradigm. You go, Mommy, Daddy, I want this. And they look at you, now, how are you going to do that? Wouldn't they be shocked if they said, well, I'm going to alter my paradigm. I'm going to get involved in some big ideas, really change the vibration I'm in, and I'm going to attract some of the most phenomenal ideas and people into my life. Can you see a parent looking at the kid, where'd this kid come from? Well, how are you going to do that? The kid doesn't know. Where are you going to get the money? The kid doesn't know. Parent looks disgusted and walk away. What did the kid learn? Don't try and get something if you don't know how to do it. Don't try and get something if you can't afford it. If you haven't got the money, don't try and do it. Spend all that money. Why would you want to do that? And so then we go to school as little kids, and we're not paying attention. Why? We're exercising our imagination. Our mind is, we're out through the windows of the school, we're off into time and space, and the teacher comes along, wham, what are you doing? Scares the daylights, you almost wet your pants, and you get sent home with a note. Bobby will not pay attention. So then you get punished at home, you get punished at school. Now, we're not exactly brain dead. If you get punished for doing something, you eventually quit doing it. Look, we go back here. We set goals to do what we know how we can do. Well, that doesn't work. Okay, so you come up here. And we get discouraged. The people we used to hang around with, they don't want to help you. Why don't they want to help you? Because they don't want you to leave. It's not that they don't want you to win. Let's suppose 4 or 5 of us are hanging around together, and I'm going after a new goal. And that would cause me to wander away from this environment, to move into a higher vibration, move into an environment where people are a little more aware. They're not going to support me. Why? They don't want me to leave. Do you know why they don't want me to leave? That would cause them to have to change. They have to adapt to my absence, and they don't want to do that. I'm used to being there. They're used to having me there. They don't want me to leave. See, people don't resist change. People resist being changed. So they're not getting any inspiration from their goal. They're not getting any support. So pretty soon they quit and they come back here. But then they wander onto an ultimate life call again, and they get wound up, and boom, they go back up there. Then they go back and tell their neighbors, and boom, they come back down here. And pretty soon they just stay there. Now look, if you're going to win, there are the 3 stages of creation. You're a creative being. If you're going to get what you want, you're going to have to fantasize. Now this is where you really want to pay attention. You start out with a fantasy. Do you want to multiply your income? You can multiply your income. If you want to earn millions, you could earn hundreds of millions. There is no end to what you can do. You go from a fantasy to a theory. Now, the fantasy is where you use your imagination. The theory is where you use your reasoning factor. You're using your higher faculties. Is this making sense to you? Of course it is. Doesn't mean you're going to do it, but it does make sense. Well, how do we really get it all going? Well, we keep studying this. We got to keep studying it. So you come on every call. I understand there's 4 calls a week, 3, 4, 5 calls. You run them all. Now, before you can turn the theory into a goal, you have to ask yourself, am I able to do this? Well, if you understand that you have infinite power, all science and all religion teaches you that, there's no end to what you're capable of doing. You'd have to say, yes, I'm able. Then, am I willing? Am I willing to give up the time to be on the calls, all the calls, every week, every night? Well, I don't know if I want to do that. Fine, stay where you are then. Struggle. But if you're willing to discipline yourself, to change your behavior, I guarantee your life will change. And then you've got a goal. And you take that goal and you impress it upon your subconscious mind. You know what happens? It begins to move into physical form. See, Andrew Carnegie told that to Napoleon Hill. He said, any idea that's held in the mind, that's emphasized, that's either feared or revered, begins at once to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate form available. That's one of the first laws of the universe. That's a perpetual transmutation of energy. That's what von Braun said. The natural laws are so precise, we don't have any difficulty sending them to the moon, bring them back, and time the landing with the precision of a fraction of a second. Now, once you build one big goal, then you're in the position to build bigger and better fantasies. See, that's called a creative process. And you're a creative being. So let's look at this. If we're going to rule something out, let's rule that jazz out. Let's get it back up here in the fantasy land. I don't care what the guy next door is doing or my brother-in-law or my uncle is doing. I'm going to fantasize. I'm going to see myself living a different life. I'm going to see myself flying in the front of the plane and riding in the back of the car. I'm going to see myself doing whatever I want to do when I want to do it with whomever I want to be with. I'm not going to have to ask, can I do this? I want to see it. I'm going to believe it because I'm going to study these laws. I'm going to study this every night. And until I really understand it, I'm going to believe what Bob's saying or what Jenny's saying or what Linda's saying or what some of these speakers are saying. And when I believe it, then I'm going to step out and do it. Now look it. Here's a guy going up a 100-foot wall of ice. All you have to do is know where you're going and know you're going to get there. I want you to think about this for a moment. The guy's obviously got the equipment. He's got the picks. He's got the spikes and the spoon. Now, why the hell the guy would do this? It was beyond me. No way I'm ever going to do this. But he's doing it. Now, imagine him standing on the ground, and he's looking at the top. It's 100 feet up, straight up, vertical wall of ice. He doesn't know where he's going to put his feet or where he's going to put those picks. He doesn't know how he's going to get up there. He only knows that he's going to take a step at a time. Now think, I want you to visualize this. He's standing on the ground. He reaches up and wham, he puts one pick in. Then boom, he reaches up and puts another one in. And then he raises one foot and then the other. Now he's not on the ground anymore. He's suspended on the side of a vertical wall of ice. Carlyle said, go as far as you can see. When you get there, you'll see how you can go further. So what's he do? He looks up, and he sees, and he takes one pick out and reaches up, and wham, he puts it in. Then he does the same with the other. Then he raises one foot and then the other. And he keeps doing that over and over again. Do you think when he gets halfway up, he says, oh, this thing's going to work? No. A step at a time. Every time he takes a step, he adapts to the change in the conditions, the circumstance, in his environment. And then and only then does he take the next step. But he gets to the top. You just have to know where you're going. You have to know you're going to get there. See? That's as simple as that. Now look at. Know where you're going. Know you're going to get there. To be able to shape your future, you must be willing and able to change your paradigm. Are you willing and able to do that? Now, when Jenny was explaining the ultimate life to me, I said, that's a pretty neat concept. I said, I don't know if you know just how important it is that you do these calls every week. I think we should raise the price. $25 is ridiculous. But at any rate, it's the repetition of the calls that are necessary to change the paradigm. It's hearing the same thing over and over and over again. Now, I'll tell you how I did it. I was reading Think and Grow Rich. I read the same book. I've been carrying it with me now for 50 years. I drove around with a battery-operated record player and the Strangest Secret record by Earl Nightingale and his condensed narration of Think and Grow Rich on a record. I was playing long-playing records in my car. I was listening to Earl Nightingale say the same thing over and over and over all day, every day. I didn't seem to be able to stop. And I did that for 2 or 3 years. It was the repetition of inundating my mind with that information that changed my life. And you know something? It will change your life. But you've got to get involved in the repetition. That's what the ultimate life is all about. Now, we've got a gift for you, but I'm going to let Jenny take that over, and if you've got some questions, I'll try and field them.
I am so happy to take this over, and you know, everybody, you're looking there at the bonuses, and I think I don't need to say a word about that, because if you have listened for the last hour, you don't want it to end, and you want to pour as much of this into your mind as you possibly can, into your mind and into your heart, into your soul, until it becomes a part of who you are, and he's given you additional ways to do that. And you know, well, we're going to see if we have some questions, but Bob said something, and I want to address it here in part of what I'm saying. The thing is that if tonight has meant as much to you as it has to me, you know, and it's funny because when he talks about the repetition, I've heard this stuff over and over and over again, but I never, ever hear it without something piercing my heart. Why? Because every time I hear it, I'm in a different place in my life. I'm not the same person who heard it 2 years ago or 10 years ago or 2 weeks ago or 3 days ago. I've become a different person. So I hear it differently. And that's why you can never hear it and never get too much repetition, because you're a different person every single time. But if it's meant as much to you as it has to me, you're not going to want to miss out on any more of the powerful events we have lined up. If you're here as a guest tonight, I could go on and on about all the speakers that Linda has lined up in the weeks and months to come. They are amazing people. But I'm simply going to ask you 2 questions. The first one is, are you worth $1.66? I hope your answer is yes. The second question is, do you believe exchanging $1.66 for $598.71 worth of life-changing resources is a smart move? Well, I'm going to choose to believe that all of you out there are intelligent enough to answer yes to those two questions. In honor of Bob Proctor being here tonight, we are offering $598.71 worth of powerful, life-changing resources from our faculty, speakers like Mary Morrissey, Michael Burnoff, Matt Boggs, and many others, including the bonuses that Bob is offering tonight. So why $1.66? It's simple. It's because we prorate our memberships on a daily basis, and we start over again 2 days from now on April the 15th, which means you can join tonight for just $1.66, download all the bonuses we're offering, and then decide if you want to stay with us. Now that brings me to the question that Bob threw out there, the comment that he said when he said, for just $25 a month. Jenny, you should charge more. Why just $25 a month? Well, I want to answer that because I think the answer is very, very important no matter where you're listening in from around the world. $25 a month here in America is very different from $25 a month in Nigeria. And when we set the price, I talked to people in countries all over the world. And I said, okay, what's $25? Is $25 affordable in Nigeria? Is $25 affordable in India? And they said, well, you know, Jenny, here's the thing. If somebody has the internet, if they are able to access what you're doing, then it's certainly more of a stretch than here in the United States. But yes, they can afford $25 a month. It's critically important to me that I not just change the lives of people here in the United States, but all over the world. So I said, okay, so let's just say these people are just getting started, and they're earning $300 or $400 a month. What's that do for somebody in Nigeria? Well, folks, that's a middle-class income. Okay, that means that this company can not only change the lives of people here in the United States, but it can change the lives of people all around the world. That's huge. So that's why I set it at $25 and why I keep it there. And even though I'm thinking Nigeria, India, I'm also thinking the little town of Newton, Iowa that inspired this whole company that I created the day after Halloween last year. Because I was looking at a town where 70% of the people are unemployed because factories have up and moved, and these people are trying to figure out how in the world they're going to live their lives. When you're trying to figure out if you can eat, $25 is a lot of money. But what it does is open the door for people to begin to change. And that's why it's that price. Hey, if you decide to cancel, you're going to keep all the bonuses. Hey, will you cancel? Well, I don't think so. Not if you're intelligent enough to be here tonight and you've heard what Bob has said. Hey, once you realize what you have your hands on, I don't believe you'll ever want to let go. Our members are the most important thing to us, and we constantly search for ways to give you more value. So it's really simple. If you received an invitation from someone tonight, please go back to that email, click on the link you'll find there. It's going to take you to their website where you can join for that whopping $1.66 and claim all your bonuses. So now let's take some time. I don't know if any questions have come in or not, but I'm going to turn it over to Linda because she's handling that. And I know that I will call Bob afterwards. But Bob, if I don't get a chance to jump in here again tonight, thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you have shared, because it has just become a classic in the archives of the Ultimate Life Company, and every new member is going to be the first thing I have them do is listen to this event, whether it's next week or 25 years from now. This is what they'll be listening to. So thank you.
You're quite welcome. It's been my pleasure.
Linda, did we have any questions? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bob.
You take a look here at this MP3, the purpose, vision, and goals. There are 3 steps that, if you want to change your life, are essential. Your purpose is why you get out of bed in the morning, why you're alive. Your vision is how you're going to execute your purpose. And your goal is taking a bite out of your vision. Your vision is a long-range multiplicity of goals that help you execute your purpose. And your goals is taking a bite out of that vision. And when you got that, then you go for another one.
Amen. Yeah, I'm doing a series of calls right now, and I tell people that, you know, the most important thing, what will empower you to do whatever you want in your life, is if you have a mission that's bigger than you. And that's it's your purpose, exactly what we were talking about. People ask me all the time, how can you continue to battle through the challenges? And I'm like, it's very simple. It's because I have a mission that's much bigger than building a company or making people money. Or I have a mission that drives me. And if people can tap into that mission, then nothing stops them. But it's what you were talking about tonight. You have to change your paradigm. You have to change your mind. You have to get to that point where the mission is bigger than anything else. All right.
So, Bob, this is Linda. I do have one question from Maggie, and I think it's a very powerful question. She's asking this. When you're making a paradigm shift, does the universe have to get you ready to handle the change before it happens?
Ooh,
no.
Deep question.
No, you've got to get ready. You've got to understand that the paradigm is like a little demon in your mind. It'll talk to you. It'll tell you all the reasons why you can't do it. And your intellect is going to recognize that what the reasons they're giving you, they're true. The paradigm will say, you haven't got any money. Are you crazy trying to do that? Well, you look and the money's not there. But it's dealing with the physical world. It's dealing with present results. You've got to look beyond the physical. You've got to look into no thing and build the picture of what you want. And you have to continually tell the paradigm, get out of here, get out of here. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. You've got to get ready. And I think that's what these calls are all about. They prepare you, and then they hold your hand while you're doing it. And you're going to need support because your neighbors probably think you're crazy. Your relatives are going to think you're crazy. You're going to get a lot of resistance. It's the support that you get here that's the main thing, and that's the important thing.
Yeah, and is it also that, you know, where if you kind of practice this with smaller goals and then you see the success for that paradigm shift, and then you can create something bigger, you know, to
well,
almost
I think
like
it's important when you're setting the goal, it's important that it's something you want. You've got to really want it. It's not so much the size of the goal, it's the strength of the want. See, wants are in the conscious mind. And when you get emotionally involved, that's when it turns into a desire. And desire waddles from the science of getting rich, that is the effort of the unexpressed possibility within, seeking expression without through your action. So the goal has to be something you really want. Now, one person may not want what another person wants. That's not important. Like, it isn't important to me what you want. It's important to me what I want, because it's what I want that's going to cause me to grow. You may be going after something and say, why do you want that? Well, if you knew why you wanted it, you probably wouldn't want it. You want it because it comes from the heart. It's saying, go after this, and that'll make you grow. So the size of the goal isn't as important as the strength of the want.
And you used an example at the very beginning, which is, you know, look at your annual goal and then imagine a look at your annual income and then imagine multiplying that by 12. That also applies to any area of your life, whether it's your health or whether it's your family or relationships, correct?
For sure.
I have a question from Dee Dee. She says, wow, awesome stuff, Bob. Thank you. Here's the situation. My mother has bipolar disorder, and while she's an amazing woman, she also has a very negative outlook on just about every area in her life. So even if it's a compliment, it comes out backhanded. So as much as I want to stay in touch with her, I feel like it's a constant battle of negative versus positive, so I keep my distance. Do you have any recommendation about that, about how to...
I sure do. I sure do.
Okay.
It's your mother, so you probably love her. You should love your mother. You only get one. Your mother gave you life. Just don't go as often, and don't stay as long. And don't try and change her. Change you. Get to the point where her negativity will just bounce off you like water off a duck. Right at the start, I said the conscious mind has the ability to accept or reject. Doesn't matter what she says, you can say, I understand that, Ma. What you really mean is, I understand you don't understand, but you just don't add the last part. You don't go as often, and you don't stay as long. And understand where she's coming from. You don't argue with her. You don't try and change her. You just try and change you. You become stronger because of that.
Okay.
Amen.
And then Roz from Southeast Asia said, it is said that one of the most important things for one to do is forgive. Please tell me how to do that when I have lost about $400,000 of our hard-earned savings. Easier said than done. I've been stuck in this rut for the last 5 years now. It's been hard to move on.
Well, as long as you hold on to it, you're going to stay in the rut. I've lost millions of dollars a few times. Hey, listen, losing it, if the loss is big enough, it's exhilarating. What you want to do is let it go. Forgiveness is letting go of. Just forgive it. I learned a lesson from Michael Beckwith on The Secret. Here it is. It's a 3-part lesson, so pay attention. Whatever happens in your life, so you lost 400, it is what it is, accept it. It's either going to control you or you're going to control it. That's the first step. It is what it is, accept it. It's either going to control you or you're going to control it. The second part is harvest the good. And the third part, forgive all the rest. Forgive means to let go of completely. I'll tell you what's good about losing the 400. You can lose 400 and you can still stand up and keep going. Now, the fact that you haven't stood up and you're not going is just a choice. Get up and let it go. Now, that's a little bit of money to lose. Where did you lose a big amount? Listen, if the thing that happens is real bad, it's real good. I wrote a book called Born Rich. I wrote it all by hand, every word of it. It was thick, 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 because as you write, paper swells. I left it. I just finished it. I left it in the back of a cab. I did not have my name written on it. I couldn't tell you the color of the cab, the name of the cab, the tax, nothing. And my wife said to me, how come you're not upset?
Wow.
I said, well, it's so bad it has to be good. I said, the book probably wasn't any good. So I just started all over again. You've got to be able to take the bad with the good. So you lost. So what? Go on out and win now. Balance it out. But absolutely refuse to let it get you down. It is what it is. Accept it. Don't waste another damn minute worrying about it. It's gone. Forgive it. Let it go. The universe is out there. It's an abundant universe. Go and earn that much in half the time.
Wow. I wish the world could hear that message right now, because there's so, like you said at the beginning, there's been so many negative things that have happened over the past few years. Lots of people have lost lots of money, or they've had health situations, or something, and then how can you embrace it, forgive it, and then create whatever's next for you?
Well, you've got a choice. That's a beautiful part. We have a reasoning factor. We have the choice. We have the ability to accept or reject. It's not going to do us any good to hold on to it, so let it go. And when you learn to let go of that, then the little annoyances in life, they become nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me see. I think that's, let me see here. Teresa said, incredibly powerful. Thank you, Bob. And she's been using books and webinars like these by the Ultimate Life Company to help keep me focused on the positive. How long will a shift take? Is Maggie's asking that question. So how long does it take to have a shift happen?
The rest of your life. Isn't that exciting?
Thanks.
Hey, listen, you can make a little shift tonight. You probably have made a little shift tonight. You may not perceive it as much, but you've made a change. And it's little changes, little changes, little changes added up. It's like Robert Russell, a great author one time. He said, there's no trick to being great in life. You do little things in a great way every day. Well, the shift takes place a little bit at a time. You may not see the change over a week. Give yourself a window of time, maybe 6 months, 9 months, and you'll see how your life has changed. My life has changed so much from studying this. Now, mind you, once I started, I never stopped. That when I think of my life prior to picking up Think and Grow Rich, it's like a sad story that I read about somebody, and I don't even want to think about it anymore. I live a great life. I'll be 77 my next birthday. I got more energy than most people, 27. In the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be working in Zurich, in Kuwait, in Helsinki, in Lima, Peru. I mean, just all over the world. I got an abundance of energy. And somebody asked me, well, how do you contribute to your youth? Like, how do you, how do you account for it? I said, I don't hang around old people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You become what you think about. Think young. Get out there. Get it going. Quit bitching and quit crying over spilt milk. Make it happen. You've got all the power in the universe within you. Go on out and really turn it loose.
That's a really great place to end on, that's for sure. So,
I think it is. I don't know you could say anything more powerful than that.
Well, I want to recommend that everybody find at least 10 people between now and the next call. Say, you got to get on here. You can get a copy of what I've done. You got to get on here. You got to get it going. Make something happen. Get 10 people before. When is the next call?
Tomorrow night, actually, and I'm doing
get 10 people before tomorrow night.
Peak Performers.
Get 10 people before tomorrow night. Get them on the call. Say, God, you get on here. This is incredible. Jenny, I want to thank you. And Carol Gates, who heads up our coaching program. Thank you, Carol, for helping me set everything up.
Thank you so much, Carol and Bob. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart for being here.
My pleasure.
It will go down in history. Have a great night.
Keep it going.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye now.